No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the done thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said $3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the done thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Good morning and welcome to Open Air on Atlantic Television Network. Open Air is a network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on Open Air, we look at Edo State. Protest as assembly moved to impeach Shuaibu. Then on to Adamawa State, government sues suspended REC Hudu. Then to Benue State, PDP slams Ali, attacks him to end insecurity. And then we'll go to Rwanda. Rwandan's ruling party picks Kagame as presidential candidate. Do not go away. When I come back from this break, we'll dive right into the show.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said $3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the done thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable
You are a human.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will move in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will move in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under.
Welcome back. With me on the show this morning is Ugochukwu Oputa. Ugochukwu Oputa is a political analyst. Good morning and welcome to Open Air, Mr. Ugochukwu.
Good morning, Nigerians.
On to the story. The move by members of the Edo State House of Assembly to impeach the Deputy Governor Philip Shuaibu took a new turn yesterday as hundreds of women, men and youths trooped to the streets to protest the plan. The protesters, under the aegis of Peace Movement and PDP Faithful, converged on Auchi Etsako West local government area in Edo State Senatorial District, Edo North Senatorial District in the early hours of yesterday, where they decried the impeachment proceedings of the assembly. The protesters bore placards with inscriptions such as "No to impeachment, we want peace in Edo State. Return the 500 million naira bribe to Obaseki. Shuaibu is our next governor, no going back," among others. On behalf of the protesters, Mr. Aminu Umoso, Gafata Emmanuel, and Hajia Anetu Momodu said they would mobilize the people of Edo State and the PDP to work against the party if they continue with the planned impeachment of Philip Shuaibu as the deputy governor of Edo State. They said this was to show to all Edo people that they stand by Philip Shuaibu and the mandate they gave him, noting that if Governor Obaseki and the House of Assembly are ready for dialogue and true reconciliation, they should come with clean hands, not impeachment notice. The group, however, appealed to the lawmakers to stay clear of any move to impeach the governor to give the state its desired peace. Emmanuel warned the legislators against the act, saying that the protest will continue until Governor Baseki and the lawmakers embrace peace. Meanwhile, the press secretary to the deputy governor, Musa Ebomiana, disclosed yesterday that efforts were on to resolve the matter. The PDP as a party has stepped in as a family to resolve the matter, he said. The umbrella is big enough to accommodate everyone. Mr. Ugochukwu, the saga in Edo State seems to be unending, and each day it brings up a new twist to the whole plot. Now, there have been concerns around the INEC deadline of March 24 for all political parties to submit the names of their Guba candidates. Now, in the case of Edo PDP, it appears that they are not exactly concerned with the deadline, because the impeachment notice to Shuaibu and the moves by the State House of Assembly to impeach Shuaibu, isn't that a distraction to PDP's Guba aspirants and their intentions to still clinch that seat?
You know, actually, the situation going on in Edo is not one that just emanated overnight. It has long been seen, expected, speculated since the relationship of Philip Shuaibu and his boss, Obaseki, went bad. And as when it did, most of us speculated that the gubernatorial ambition was behind the sad relationship. Also, the story of the eviction of Philip Shuaibu is not one that started today. We saw when they said he was moved out of the deputy governor's lodge, and stories of renovation and all that was behind it, that he was relocated outside the government house, you know. So when you see what is going on, at the end of the day, it all boils down to politics, because in Edo State, we've seen the ugly trend, which we had subsided before, of parallel congresses, and now PDP has two individuals, you know, claiming that they are the nominated candidates for the Guba election. You know, so I am also aware that Philip Shuaibu have approached the courts. You know, so I'm thinking that this is more like a deterrent or a counter action by the Obaseki-led PDP to more like put weight, or as a move to deter Philip Shuaibu to, you know, slow down on whatever counter actions he's taking. But however, if I am the Guba candidate of the APC, or I'm a member of the APC in Edo State, moves like this is you know, is healthy to our aspirations.
APC, on the other hand, they have their own issues. They are battling their own crisis, you know. But you said that this impeachment notice from Obaseki-led government, that it might slow down Shuaibu. Do you think it might slow him down, or actually concretize his resolve to make sure that, okay, even if I don't become the governor, PDP will not emerge?
Yes, but then if you've studied this crisis, you know that it has gone past that Rubicon. Yeah, it has gone past the situation where you'd expect some kind of concessions or you know, round table, because it's actually personal. Shuaibu feels personally entitled to the emergence of Obaseki.
Is he feeling entitled or feeling used at this point?
Yeah, when I mean entitled, that he feels that he played a major role in Obaseki's emergence. I remember he had to go against his all-time godfather, Oshomole, to support Obaseki against the choice of Oshomole. And then he feels that this is a time for his own, for him to be compensated in on some sort, you know. And then you now have that same person pulling all the strings to fight him, you know. So I think it has gone past hoping that there will be some kind of alliance or mending. The only way here is the concept of mutually assured destruction, which I think Oshomole is saying.
How do you think it's going to play out?
Which I think this man is saying, you cannot be my deputy governor, and then you're, you know, attempting to truncate our party chance of producing, you know, the governor of the state. You know, so to me, I feel is normal in politics. You know, you should not sit on a comfortable place to fight me. If you must fight me, then I wouldn't have you standing firm on your 2 feet.
No, but apparently the National Working Committee is not standing with Shuaibu.
Yes, it looks that way, and a whole lot of persons think Shuaibu is being sponsored by a middlesome interloper or a section of the party that is trying to influence pool weight. You know, some are also saying he's being sponsored by
the opposition.
Yes, and that set of opposition are those opposition that are called PDP by night, APC by morning. You know,
PDAPC.
you know, so you can, you know, whatever the case may be, but Shaibu's action shows you that he's out of the 3 possibilities. Shaibu is just in tune to 2. Number 1 is the Oshomole Obaseki candidate goes ahead, or number 2 that he emerges, or number 3 that he scuttled the system. He's open to just either if he doesn't emerge.
And from all indications, you think he's just out to scuttle the system.
Oh yes. You know, my bias before now was with Shaibu, because I think he's a very fine politician and someone that is a grassroots politician. And I saw how he stood, you know, strongly behind his governor. Even when the former governor of Rivers State had issues with Obaseki, and when they were, you know, throwing tantrums at each other, you know, this same Shaibu spoke in defense of his governor against the then governor of Rivers State. And I remember clearly when the then governor of Rivers State, you know, referenced him as imagine a common deputy governor, you know, and all those stuff he did in defense of Obaseki. You know, so I had admiration for him. I had desire that he would emerge. But then the influences around him and those that are hoping to, you know, use him to scuttle the now arrangement of PDP, I think it's not one that I personally welcome as someone who has been a supporter of the People's Democratic Party.
Okay, but when you look at it from a different angle, now you also said this is a man who has invested a lot into the emergence of Obaseki, and in the light of that also made enemies, or made powerful enemies, you know, if I may say so. And not just investing a lot, you talk of financial investment, you talk about, you know, political capital, everything was invested heavily, and he has been faithful and stood by Obaseki. And then it wasn't just not Obaseki not allowing him to come up, but it's about how low Obaseki has also gone to fight him and also intimidate, you know, using his power. If you look at it critically, don't you think Shuaibu is doing what he should do? If he thinks he has the capacity to emerge, and also he has plans to better the state, why can't he be given the chance to do that? And that also brings me to the second question. What's this thing about incumbent governors not allowing their deputies to run for governorship?
You know, this is it can be written as a political science project topic, because it's, though I know that the former governor of Rivers State, which is Sir Dr. Peter Odili, was a deputy governor under Ada George when they had a small stint of leadership. However, you can see that was made possible because there was a break in transmission, you know, and so it gave him the ability to, you know. However, you wouldn't be wrong if you say that that is an occurrence, because the deputy governor to Rotimi Amechi had lost ambition too. That's Tele Ikuru, you know, and this is why most times when gubernatorial candidates shop for a deputy governor, their running mate, they tend to look towards seemingly unambitious people, you know, because if you're a deputy governor is nothing ambition, there's a high chance that towards the end of your tenure, his actions or inactions can begin to sabotage your administration. And that played out during former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Atiku. Okay. You know how Atiku was, you know, all about the place and trying to build, you know, alignments and all. And Obasanjo,
was that sabotaging Obasanjo?
No, why, how he sabotaged?
He was trying to politically locate himself and align with himself with people that will help him, as long as they are not working against the administration.
The question you asked, was that sabotaging Obasanjo's plan? Yes, but it might not necessarily be sabotaging the administration. Okay. But everybody, you know, every politician has plans. He sabotaged Obasanjo's third term agenda. All thanks to him and lucky for us. However, that was Obasanjo's plan. And that plan hit the rock because of Atiku's ambition. If Atiku was not someone that was that had ambitions to run for president, if he was comfortable for his vice presidential position, he would have wholeheartedly wanted to go for a third term as vice president. But he was the major, you know, major convener that rallied around, because he was so influential in the parliament, in the, you know, so he legislative, sorry, and he was the one that rallied around senators, House of Reps, and ensured that that bid, you know, did not succeed. You know, so that's why people shop for unambitious deputies, because you don't have crisis like this. You know, even some governors towards the election period, they announced to their cabinet, please, if you have ambition to run for anything and all, you should resign now, because being in office and hunting for political positions while in office, there is a chance that you have some kind of executive sabotage. You use offices and conference rooms that should be for the purpose of the government to hold your political meetings. You influence, you use your influence. If you're commissioner for works and there are contracts to give us and all that, you start using that to align people that will serve your purpose, not necessarily the state purpose.
All right. On to Adamawa State. Adamawa State government has finally sued suspended state resident electoral commissioner of Independent National Electoral Commission, Hudu Ari Yunusa, to answer for his act in the last general election. Hudu has stirred up trouble during the last governorship election in the state, when as then REC usurped the power of the returning officer by announcing a winner of the election, even when collation was yet to be concluded. His employer, INEC, had suspended him and later charged him to court, but the suit has been dragging as Hudu kept evading the court, excusing himself from every adjournment, often pleading ill health. The state government has now approached the state high court, slamming a 3-count charge on evasive former REC. It is seeking a speedy conviction of Hudu, asking the court, presided over by Justice Benjamin Lawan, to try him on charges of disturbance of public peace, conduct likely to cause breach of peace, and impersonating a public officer. The 3 charges are separate from the 6th leveled by the federal government through INEC in the pending first suit against Hudu. The suit by the state government, which was mentioned at State High Court at the weekend, came as a predictable result of a pronouncement made earlier by Governor Amadou Finitri. Finitri had, in a reaction to Supreme Court judgment on January 31, 2024, affirming his election and berating Hudu over his illegal rule, vowed that Hudu must be tried. He had emphasized that those with a right to prosecute Hudu and his cohorts would be failing democracy if they did nothing about it. Now, Mr. Ugochukwu, Adamawa State, what right has the REC to announce a winner when collation has not been fully done?
You know, that was the incident of Adamawa was one of the most hilarious and one of the highlights, negative highlights of the general election. You know, when we heard that the lady that was supposedly supposed to be the first female elected governor, you know, was announced as
was that Binani?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the Adamawa REC announced the lady as the winner. You know, and after that, you know, we now started hearing that no, that was not correct, and they had to do a collation and all. You see, I have on this platform stated that the reason why we still have irregularities in our electoral process is that those who deliberately sabotage our elections and electoral processes, we don't get to see or hear about the consequences that apply for such action. You hear that there are electoral laws, there are laws that electoral officials ought to abide and all that. What is the punishment? Even if this punishment is stipulated, how many people have deliberately been made to pay for their poor actions and their sabotage of the system? As we go towards the election tribunal, electoral petition tribunal and all that, we should be seeing when a judgment is given that, okay, this election was, you know, was announced in error, or it was falsely declared and all. These actions were carried out by individuals. Election officers, electoral officers made these actions, sabotaged this process. This person should also be punished. Because if a REC or a collation officer knows that if I should use my pen to cancel a duly entered result and falsify figures and all, and it goes bad, that I'm going to serve so amount of jail term, or I'm going to suffer so consequences, they'll think twice, because it is deterrent that stops people from committing crime. The reason why you see people don't go about punching people on the face is because you know if you punch someone, the person might punch you back, or you might take, you might be locked up for assault and all. So without proper deterrent, these persons will continue to find sabotaging our electoral process as a lucrative venture. Yes, you can do this and go home with 50 million naira, but you can live your eventful time of your life in jail. And when you weigh that side by side, it's going to discourage people. So that's why I'm in full support with the Adamawa state government, because, and I encourage other state government, especially the ones that got into power in a legitimate and you know, fair process. Whoever you know made an attempt to sabotage your process, personally take that person to court and make the person pay for their crimes. Build a reputation that in so-so states you don't come and, you know, subvert the will of the people. This someone who had no capacity to announce the winner of an election came publicly to give an announcement. That's like an executive coup.
When collation has not been,
it has not been
completed.
done from nowhere. You just announce your brother. If everybody should do like, then we're going to lose this country, because somebody can collect amount of bribe and declare whoever he or she wants as a winner of an election.
Okay.
You know, so I think that this action should be emulated by other state governments.
Okay. All right, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll look at Benue State. PDP slams Ali, attacks him to end insecurity. Don't go away.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigerians need now is not about the turn thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back. The People's Democratic Party has urged Governor Hyacinth Alia to provide necessary logistics and material support to security agencies in Benue State to fight the worsening insecurity in the state. The party, in a statement issued weekend in Makurdi by its publicity secretary in Benue State, Bemba Eyotom, also berated the governor for blaming the killings in Bager, Ukum local government area of the state on cattle rustling and kidnapping by a militia leader. The statement partly reads, PDP condemns these barbaric acts in the strongest possible terms, noting that they are totally unprovoked, with the perpetrators solely intent on violating the ban on open grazing of livestock, which is enforced in the state. The party also disagrees with Governor Hyacinth Alia's submission that the callous and criminal acts were the result of rustling of cattle belonging to Fulani herdsmen by some locals, which provoked the attacks. Governor Alia's views is faulty to the extent that it ignores the original crime of the violation of the prohibition of open grazing and ranches establishment law by the herders, which renders their presence in the state and all of their actions hereto as willfully criminal. The Benue State governor therefore misses the point completely by seeking to shift the blame from the criminals to the victims, even as by so doing he cuts the worrisome impression of one lacking in both will and onus to uphold his oath to protect the people from the killer herdsmen and other criminals. The governor should enlist the support of members of the National Assembly from the state in the all-important fight, rather than continue in needless and distracting altercations with them. He should also invest in the monthly security vote available to his office to provide much-needed logistical and equipment support to security agencies in the state, including the Benue State Livestock Guards, which is the enforcement arm of the open grazing ban, so as to strengthen their hand in the fight against the terrorists. Governor Alia's charge to security agents in the state to enforce the ban on open grazing without aiding them with vehicles and sundry gadgets, as has been the practice with previous administrations, amount to paying mere lip service to an otherwise ultimately serious and grievous situation. Governor Alia should act now to expel the murderous herdsmen from Benue and stop further bloodletting in the state. Now, Mr. Ugochukwu, the back and forth between the State House of Assembly, the executive arm of government, being Governor Alia, and PDP also, isn't it distracting at this point? And then, if the governor has come out to say this is the reason for the attacks, he is privy to certain information that the party itself may not be privy to. Now, do you think that Governor Alia, on one hand, so far, has not been effective in fighting insecurity? Then PDP, on the other hand, and the legislature, they've also been in their own debacle. Don't you think all this put together is a major distraction to the governor at this point?
You know, in situations like this, the people I feel for are the direct victims, you know, because when serious issues regarding loss of life and property are being discussed and people are painting political scenario to it, it actually is enough distraction for the expected actions. Secondly, I think I understand the position of the PDP because It's just like the generic assertions when you hear that someone was sexually assaulted or violated, and rather than complain of the crime, you rush to say, what did she wear? What was she wearing? You know, how did she talk to the person? You know,
how did she walk?
Exactly. So the victims, people were murdered, people are being kidnapped, people are suffering loss of life and property. That on its own is a crime. That should be condemned. That should be, you know, ways to sort it out. It's not at the, you know, statement of a crime, you now start saying, but they look for these people trouble now. You know, there's no justification for that. Yes, Governor Alia would have found better approach to, you know, the issues being suffered by the state. You know, but his statement can come off sensitive to the insensitive to these victims. So, what I would say is that the Benue State has been on the map for actions like this over time. I remember the last the mass burial sometime last year or prior, during the time of Governor Autumn. You know, and you could see how this bloodletting goes on and on and on. And to me, I even feel like the PDP in the state should know that as much as the governor is considered the you know, chief security officer of the state, the issues in Middle Belt, Benue, and some of those states need direct intervention from the Grand Commander of the Armed Forces. You know, the country needs to look into it because it's looking like a systematic killing that has been going on. The other day, a clergy said that he's going to, you know, he tell his members to arm themselves, because actions like this make you to wonder if truly Nigerians are better off without arms. Because it was for specific actions like this that the Fifth Amendment in the United States Constitution was mentioned, the Third Amendment, the right to bear arms. If people resort to self-help for situations like this, it will be chaotic, because once you fight the enemy and you destroy the enemy and you're used to fighting something, you look for the next target to fight. And then with enough arms in saturation, we're going to have a chaotic state. And this is why we have a government. One of the characteristics of a state is the ability to protect its constituents. And if that is not happening, then we're having a failed state. So I think that the call from PDP is timely in a way. However, no one should try to politicize issues of life.
That is what is going on in Benue State? They are actually politicizing this whole crisis. Don't you think that's what's going on?
Yes, but then, you know, one good thing of having opposition is that when a party is in power and the opposition is very vocal, they point out where the party is not doing fine. And most of the times, the populace are come in favor, you know, of those actions. So, for example, if there is a protest now in this country, it's expected that the major opposition would align with the masses for the protest. Just like in the United Kingdom, here you have a shadow government. So there's nothing wrong, yes, even if it suits their political purpose. But the fact that they ought to be a pressure group on the ruling party. And when you have that, when you have two equal power, you know, facing that, then you're sure of having the masses as the beneficiaries of such action. You know, so yes, they could have a political undertone, but then that their actions serve the purpose of the masses or the greater good of the state. Yes, and that is the core role of opposition in politics and democracy.
Interesting. Okay, on to Rwanda. Rwanda's ruling party on Saturday picked President Paul Kagame as its candidate for the July election, teeing up a contest widely expected to return the long-time leader to office for a fourth 7-year term. The 66-year-old has ruled over the landlocked African nation with an iron fist for decades and won the presidency in elections in 2003, 2010 and 2017 with more than 90% of the votes. Kagame's candidacy was unopposed during the Rwandan Patriotic Front Congress that ended Saturday, the party said. The 47-year-old member of parliament secured only 0.45% of the ballot in the 2017 election, coming third in polls that right groups criticized for irregularities and voter intimidation. The other potential challenger to Kagame, Victoria Mbarbire, leader of the unregistered Dalfa Umurunzi Development and Liberty for All movement, is blocked from the presidential race due to a past conviction. Rwanda will hold presidential and parliamentary polls on July 15th. Mr. Gochukwu, you have an interesting argument to this because this is the fourth time, if Paul Kagame succeeds in his presidential election, then that will be the fourth time he will be returning as the president of Rwanda. And that will make it how many years in government? 21 years?
It's a term of 7 years, so it's going to make it 28 years. 28 years? Yes, a term of 7 years each times 4, that's 28.
Interesting. Now the question is, why is he going on the fourth term?
You know,
is that democracy?
You see, the issue of Rwanda is, if Paul Kagame finished serving as president and maybe humbly retires, I'll be one of the first person that would queue up to
have him return,
buy his book.
Okay.
Because I feel that Rwanda is running on a unique ideology, and I feel Paul Kagame have been able to share this ideology, you know, to some of his close circle and, you know, and the members of the government, you know. What is happening in Rwanda is something that the Western world would criticize. I'm even indifferent about the actions, you know, because most leaders...
You're indifferent?
Yeah, when I mean indifferent is that Rwanda is having results.
Okay.
Rwanda is coming tops in terms of ICT, tech, and all in Africa. Rwanda has observed exponential growth for a war-torn country that was ravaged by war. And you see that Rwanda is a destination and tourist choice. It has done well in infrastructural development, education, quality of education, development in technology, environment. Rwanda has abolished single plastic use and all. You know, so many futuristic or modern day advances, as you put it. However, the democracy there is not one that the Western world would admire. I am fully for a democratic arrangement, and I also support that leaders should not stay too long in office. However, the democracy...
You're putting a caveat.
Yes, however...
Negating what you've earlier said.
The democracy that we currently practice in Africa has not been so much beneficial to Africans. Because Vladimir Putin, for example, is someone that served almost the same tenure with Kagame, because I think his 7-year term too. And one of the arguments long-serving leaders make is that, just like in China and all, now when you have a good leader and then he has a long time to plan, you know, he can start up a process, observe it, nurture it, grow, ensure that it is institutionalized, you know. But when you have terms of 4 years, that is being truncated by electoral process, and after 2 years you go, that a leader might not be able to do so much. After that, your 4 years, 8 years, the fate of the policies you've implemented lies on whoever takes over from you. And 8 years is such a short span for something to be. Take, for example, our railway. No, if a president comes in today, like President Tinubu, I want to have, it as his ambition that the entire country should be connected by high-speed railway, train, and then electricity should be fixed. It's not something that could be done under 8 years. But if that person has, say, 20 years, it's possible that our electricity might have turned around within that time frame. So there are persons that feels that democracy is not working for Africa. Democracy are currently practiced. Some persons that feel that they call it benevolent dictatorship, because that the Westerners deliberately sold us this kind. Because most of the performing world power, look at China today. China have long-serving. In fact, they have a one-party system, and then you now have long-serving head of government. Look at Russia, for example. Vladimir Putin has been there for a very long time. And the only country that sort of have this kind of democratic long-term arrangement is Rwanda. And then you see that Rwanda is now, you cannot compare other 4 years double terms nation with Rwanda currently. So persons like me, I would like to know what is the argument, what is the ideology behind it. Maybe it should be a turning point for Africa. Maybe we should start considering
Rwanda's kind of democracy.
Yes.
If a president is goal-oriented and he's very visionary, he can stay as long as he wants, as long as he's re-elected through a fair process, but stay as many times as he wants to see the end of his project.
Up to when we're able to institutionalize and get good working institutions.
So sadly, we are out of time. Mr. Upita. It's a pleasure having you on Open Air today.
Same here, thank you.
Pleasure. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Air. You can always stay connected to us on all our socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ogu Laurentia Chioma. See you same time tomorrow.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their
So no agreement with the EU, but